So yeah, at this point in the video, you might be realizing that I am making a list of all my bike parts that I need to get rid of all my hack bikes, essentially. So any bike that I have that I just don't really need. I make money on some of them, but I've been trying to wean out of this buying and selling used bikes because it's really hard and people don't quite understand like what their expectations are versus what reality is. So I'm trying to get out of that and just focus on new builds. So in the future I'll be purchasing frames and building them as new bikes instead of, you know, dealing with the components that are on these used bikes. So for the time being, I'm clearing out my stable. I'm going to show you all the bikes that I have, and we're going to, you know, figure out what parts I need to realistically get them gone the cheapest way possible. So let's go ahead and get into that. We're going to open up the garage and you'll see all my bikes. These aren't just going to be my vintage bikes, they're going to be all the bikes that I could sell. So let's get into the garage and start the day. As you can tell, I am kind of engulfed in bikes right now, and some of these bikes were included in that vintage mountain bike hoard from a previous video. Some of them aren't so vintage, so I didn't include them, and they weren't really mountain bikes. So I'm going to take each one of these out into the carport and then just go through them. This kind of serves my purpose for myself, because I'm going to use this as a documentation of the bikes and what parts that they need. Just going through, I'm going to, you know, talk about what I could see, what they need, and then just quickly show you all the bikes, and it'll be kind of like a tour. Wow, this one's a true looker. So this is a Trek Navigator 400, kind of like a hybrid bike, but a really cool frame. It's a 26er, and it's probably mid 2000s, early 2000s, because it has still the quill stem up top, and it has some older Shimano components. That's I don't even know what that is. Neck save. Has a single piece chain ring up front, and you know, I saved this from the trash, so I have to do everything to it, and I do this with concern to saving bikes and not so much about making them great trail riders or anything like that. So if I could get a single chain ring, or if I could get this built into a single speed bike, it's a lot more in demand than obviously a trash bike. So there'll be attention for something that could be easily ridden, maintained, and just a rugged bike. But see all these cables and whatnot and all this stuff on the bike, people don't tend to maintain this stuff whenever they're just hobbyists or just people who buy a bike without understanding the mechanics of bikes. You have to continuously work on them to keep them running, and this is what happens. People get nice Trek Navigators, probably like a $500 bike back in the day, and then they end up in the trash. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, and you know, it's hard to do with everything going on, so that's why I'm getting out of it. But that's the Trek Navigator. This bike is pretty cool. It's a Marin Hawk Hill. So if you know about mountain biking, then you'll know that Marin is one of the first mountain bike companies there was, and you could really tell with the quality. This was a different time period for mountain bikes, and it's still like really like future-proof, up to date. It's just a really nice bike. It's a oversized frame. This is a 26-inch frame. I could probably fit 27s in there, but I'm not gonna try. Like I said, I'm just trying to get these bikes together and gone, with the exception of a couple of the nicer frames that I have. But this one doesn't need much. Has a flat in the front, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and put a tire on there and see if I could ride it and see what it needs. That way I have a good idea of what is going on with the bike and I could diagnose it. But yeah, really cool Marin. Alright, this is one of those bikes where I just don't really know why I got it. I really liked the frame. I think it would make a really cool gravel bike. And if any of you watching this are interested in seeing these bikes be built to a better spec than what they are currently in line with, then just let me know in the comments. I am okay with building the bikes, but to make YouTube videos and to build bikes is really difficult, and some of the videos I get are greatly supported by the community, some of them not so much, and you know, it's a fine line of what is worth it. But again, if you see any of these bikes that you want to see built into like a cool gravel bike, then just let me know. This one in particular I think would be pretty sweet, or just turn it into like a monster cross beach bike. You can see how big the tires are on it. These are really hokey tires. Around Daytona, people spray paint tires, spray paint rims to make them look better. It's hard, but pretty cool bike. It needs everything. Chains missing, no derailleur. Kind of has a horizontal dropout in it though. You could see kind of like a horizontal drop, so you could probably put like a single speed free wheel or free coaster on the back there, free cassette, whatever you want to call it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but and then just put like a single speed setup, which is probably what I'm going to do. Drop the bars and put some new tires on it, and maybe a new seat that isn't so cruisery. This kind of style is pretty dated for bikes in general, and we'll just have to update it. And I get good deals on these bikes, that's why I have so many of them, but I'm trying to get them gone so I can focus more on the YouTube channel, do these bike builds one at a time instead of having an overwhelming amount of them and not any time to do them. Let's get to the next one. Alright, and this is a really cool bike too. This is a late 90s, early 2000s Specialized Rockhopper, and you could tell that it's a little bit old school but a little bit new school. Has a threadless headset, has a nice little Manitou fork on it, and just like the styling of it is a little bit more I guess modern, but it needs a bit of work. The front derailleur is missing. Again, I'll probably end up just putting a 1x on this. For Florida, 1x8 is completely acceptable and fine. And it makes for, these bikes tend to be used for like all-purpose. They're not typically ridden on the trail. People who buy bikes like this aren't like seeking a mountain bike for, you know, real trail use. And even if they say they're going to be riding the trail, most people who say that will end up getting to the trail like once a year. This is perfect for that. Just needs some, I would say, better rubber. I'll probably do that for this bike since it's a Specialized. Gives it a little bit more of a high-end feel. So I'll probably get some Maxxis 26-inch tires. I'll clean up the group set, put a 1x on it, and pretty much it. I'll probably end up keeping like this sort of grip feel, maybe something different but along the same lines, and maybe clean up the cockpit, but that's pretty much it. Also, I'm gonna need a new saddle, so as I go through these bikes, I'm writing a list here, and that way I could easily order the stuff from Amazon and get it all in. That way I am not missing anything. let's get to the next one. Next up we have a Novara Ponderosa. This is a coworker's bike, and if you're into this sort of bike maintenance thing, one tip that I have is don't help coworkers with their bikes. I've learned the lesson and I'm done after this one. I have another one out that a coworker has, and just don't do it. Again, people have their expectations with bikes and they're really far out, and whenever you're just a person who builds bikes like this as a hobby, it's hard to produce bike shop maintenance on a time frame that bike shops can do with the amount of work that goes into this stuff and meeting expectations and whatnot. But anyways, again, Ponderosa, Novara. I think this is an REI bike. Pretty nice little bike. It's a 26er. It just needs a front derailleur adjustment. This is obviously kind of wonky there, and pretty much it. I'm probably gonna soak the chain, soak the front derailleur, and just clean it up. Maybe put some new bars on it for the guy. I said that I was kind of making it a little bit better, but he was really adamant about keeping the front 3x. People who aren't really in the know with mountain biking think that the more gears you have, the better it is, but you know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So gotta keep that how it is. Pretty much gotta keep everything how it is and just get it to shift and work properly. Yeah, this is the Ponderosa. Alright, this is a Diamondback Overdrive 27.5. The front wheel obviously doesn't have a tube in it. The group set looks a little bit thrashed, but I can't be sure of how it's shifting since I don't have a tube in it. And it needs a seat, obviously. It needs some new bar grips, and it should be pretty much good to go. Again, I get these bikes and I try not to add any parts to them. It'd be one thing if I built one bike a month and maybe profited like a couple $100, but whenever you have 15 bikes in this stable, it's hard to do. So yeah, this is the Diamondback Overdrive. So I'm just coming back to this Diamondback Overdrive one more time. I put a front tire on just to test out the shifting. The rear derailleur seems to work fine. The front derailleur is hacked. It's just not good. So I'll probably just end up putting a 1x chainring up front and then taking off the derailleur in the front completely. That way this bike is functioning. You can see how sagged that chain is, so it's going to need some work in the back too. But it rides. The shifting is fine in the back. It's definitely rideable, and yeah, it won't be much to make this thing a trail-worthy bike. This is probably one of the better bikes that I have in my stable right now for sale. Alright, so you've watched this far. I'll probably cut this to the beginning, but I want to talk about possibly doing a giveaway to somebody in my local community. If you live in Florida, if you watch the channel and you're subscribed to the channel, and you have a bike or need a bike that is more trail worthy, then I'm thinking about doing a giveaway for one of these bikes that I have. This bike in general, the felt, would be a pretty good option for somebody who's bigger, like 6 foot around there. And then I also have that Diamondback Overdrive that you'll see in the video that is smaller and be better for like a junior. Again, I'm just putting my feelers out there. I want to see how much feedback I get about that, and we'll kind of go forward with it. It would probably be somewhere around Christmas time where, you know, it would come together. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, giving a bike away to somebody in the community. It wouldn't be like the best bike in the world, obviously. It's not going to be like a full suspension $2,000 bike, but it'll help you get started, and just let me know what you think. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that could use one, and I have many to offer, so yeah, comment down below. Let me know if you want to see something like that. Alright, Felt 29er. This is called the 9 Trail. It's a bike by Felt. Pretty cool bike. Obviously a cross-country bike. and it needs everything. So this will probably be one of the last bikes that I build. I might put a better fork on it, obviously a better group set, and it's just a complete build. I don't really want to think about it because it's kind of overwhelming, but I'm going to list out the parts that I need and what I need to do to it. And yeah, this Schwinn Prelude has been haunting me for way too long, and I just wish I could see it go home to a different owner. It is a 1x8, and this is like a mid-2000s Schwinn when they were still pretty good. It used to have a set of drop bars on it, but I've converted it to like a track bar sort of fixie bike. Even though it's got gears, I figured I'd just keep them on there since they work. Needs a tube in the back and a saddle, grips, and I don't know. This thing does not, I don't know, people just don't like the color of this bike or something, and it just does not have any pull on Facebook Marketplace. People won't buy it. And I've sold it, I put a pretty low price on there, so hopefully the next iteration of this bike will sell. I'll try to do a video after I do all the servicing on these bikes and show you what they look like after the servicing. They might not have changed a lot, but at least you'll get a good idea of what it's like to do this sort of thing with so many bikes. So it's quite funny because with like really nice or higher end bikes like Giant, Cannondale, Trek, and especially these vintage aero bikes like this one here, this thing has been sitting for like at least 2 months now, and I could get on it and ride it and it's fine, with the exception of the issues that it already had, like it doesn't shift in the rear, probably due to a seized cable, which is really easily fixable. But for me to just get on a bike that's already 20, 30 years old and it just rides smoothly, really says a lot. So this bike doesn't need a ton. I just need to clean it up. But look at that cool oil slick, and yeah, what could I say? It's a really great bike. Just pretty much needs a cable adjustment in the back and it'll be good to go. It has a Walmart seat on it though, so might have to change that. So this is one of my favorite bikes. This is my personal bike and it doesn't need much. And if you've been on the channel for a while, you'll know that this is a pretty popular bike. This is actually the seat for that Diamondback that I just showed you, but it's really clean, single speed. You can see how much this chain is sagging. Had some issues with this. The DMR chain tensioner, you're supposed to actually wrap from the bottom, but I didn't think I had enough links out, so it wasn't actually wrapping like I wanted to. Has a nice chain ring on the front. These are the IXF cranksets from Amazon. This is the One-Up Components flat pedal, really nice pedal. This bike doesn't really need anything, I just need to get it on the trail more often. Has 2.8s, Maxxis Recons, really fun bike, really light compared to my full suspension bike. I just need some grips and it'll be good. And I saved the best for last. This is a Schwinn Varsity. What can I say? This is like an old bike, probably from the 70s, potentially 80s, but has like, talk about dork disc. I mean, this right here, that is some serious protection. But I got this because I could probably just throw the parts on another bike. But if people are watching this and you're just like, you know, a regular rider, casual rider, and you know somebody who wants a bike like this, just let me know. I'll give this thing away easily. So yeah, if this will just kind of be an Easter egg. Again, this is in like fine working condition. It's a really cool bike, weighs a ton. It's a beautiful like display piece, just bright, vibrant yellow, just screams 70s era Schwinn. And yeah, this is it. Let's jump inside and finish off the video. Alright, so you saw my bike collection. As far as the bikes that I need to repair, there's about 10 of them right now that I need to repair and get out. I just can't it's hard to sustain the channel and build projects with trying to upload all this stuff at a reasonable rate. So I'm trying to get all of those gone. That way I could focus one at a time at each build. And it's not really just for the YouTube channel, obviously. I've been doing this for many years before I ever even started this. And I need to forget about making side money in that way and more so focus on the channel to make the community grow. And that's pretty much how I'm gonna move forward. Let me know what you think about the giveaway thing if you're still watching this. The community in Florida is pretty strong, and I think that there's enough people who watch the channel that might know somebody that is in need of a bike. And I said it would be around Christmas, maybe even past that. I don't want to put any time restraints on it, but I want to hear the feedback in the comments to see, where it stands, how much interest or pull there would be for something like that. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed me showing you my bike collection as far as the ones, again, that need to be serviced and moved out. That's about only half of the actual bikes that I ride. In this room, there's like 1, 2, 3 bikes that are in my stable that I ride and that I'm building. So yeah, there's a lot of bikes here. That's pretty much it. I hope that you might build something, do something creative, and move forward in your life in a positive way. Don't forget to go out there and create your own adventure however you can. Spread some positivity. I'll see you on the next one.